Hello and welcome back. This is Nilakshi Sengupta and you are listening to my podcast, Just One Question. Today we have with us the super talented, super hardworking director, actor, choreographer, dancer, KARLA Singh. And I'm going to ask her a very technical question about choreography. Hey KARLA, I've always been very curious to understand how space is used by stage directors, by choreographers, when large movement is being planned. Can you explain that to us, please?
How to answer that? I never really analyzed it, thought about it that way.
Do you want to give a hint?
No, let's see. See, because I was a choreographer for gymnastics, and being a gymnast, you have a kinesthetic sense of your body and space. You have to do a little homework, know what size you're going to be dealing with, how big is your stage, how many bodies do you have to move into it. Having seen dance and things like that, you have a sense of what formations look good, and you work with the bodies that you have. You work with their abilities, their strengths, and you play to those strengths.
Sounds a bit complicated to me. Any simpler way that you could explain this?
I used to work with paper and pencil a lot, and sometimes with like chess pieces, carom pieces, and then work out on that paper. Okay, now if I have this and I need, the lead person has to come in because you always have to focus.
Give us an example maybe?
Okay, there's a lead singer, for example, and you're the background dancer. So you have to keep that perspective in mind. What is your focus? Who is most important? So who do you have to highlight within that dance number or movement choreography or whatever it is? Get the purpose of the scene across as effectively as possible, and still keep that hierarchy in place of who should be in the front, who should be in the back, like that.
Wow, that's interesting. Please continue.
So I think a lot of it was inherent. I don't know. I never really analyzed it. I'm thinking about it for the first time with this question, quite honestly. But yes, I've used boards.
Now I'm starting to visualize this a wee bit. I'm loving the process, KARLA.
I remember for one project, a Tata product launch.
Okay.
And also for one of the school productions I had to do like those Olympic stadium, like the movement, like they do in football fields where they make patterns and diagrams with bodies and all that. And so in 2 productions I had to do that. And it was like, how do I do that? Oh my gosh, I mean, you're dealing with 300 people. How do you mark each? So, I just had to analyze and say, all right, how would I go about doing this? I got to make a dove. It's based on an Olympic event. It's going to be in a field. And it's in a field. So how do I make this? What does a dove do? They fly, they move. So how do I make them move? So this line they'll move out, then they'll go in to make the wings flying. So I had to do that on a board. I had a huge board and I used chana. I said, where do you get little? So I used pieces of chana. Each one was one of the the bodies. So I said, okay, if I've got 10 here, they'll move out. So they have to go out, and made a grid on the ground so that they had to work on a grid, because in America they have to do those things on football fields where they have the yardages measured out.
This is fascinating. So much thought must have gone into creating even one composition. For a full performance, there would have been so many. And you said you have never been trained to do this? It was all trial and error. Wow, truly, truly fascinating. Please tell us more.
So just winging it in a lot of ways, trying to rely on how to go about doing this, because nowhere is it written in a book how to do this, and I didn't know of anybody here who had done it, so I just had to figure it out. So you figure it out and hope for the best, and in each case it worked out, but with a lot of homework. So that's on a large scale in terms of space, your opening question, dealing with space, and then another taste.
You also deal with large number of performers at times. Dimensions change there? Any thoughts?
You've got 24 dancers, okay, and you've got a stage that's only 30 feet wide.
Okay.
So then you make clusters, you make groups, so you bring them in sections. So you find ways to get around it, based on observing other productions,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's movies, other theatrical productions, and an inherent sense of space that.
And the process changes when you are directing or choreographing for the film medium?
So then the way of working, the way of attacking it, the way of planning for it, all of that has to change. From a theatrical production to an ad film, you're dealing with a theatrical, you're dealing in real time. Everything has to happen in real time. If I want to go from this side of the stage to that side of the stage, it takes me so long to walk there or run there. But in film, you can just go, cut, there you are. Then you're in a new location, things like that. So you have to think that way, especially when you're choreographing.
This has been a very interesting chat. I wish to see you at work someday and understand the practicality of it all. But for now, I shall take your leave and hope to meet and learn more from you very, very soon. Thanks once again, Karla. Well, guys, wasn't that mesmerizing? There's always some science that works hand in hand with art. And this I find to be at the crux of true creativity. Art with science, knowledge with emotion. They must come together and help in creating historical pieces. Truly, truly fascinating. Let's meet again soon, and I shall, on your behalf, talk and discuss more interesting subjects with many more artists and understand their art form. Till then, you have been listening to Just One Question, and this is Neelakshi Sengupta signing off for now.